Hello all you lovely viewers out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Sports Mystic, which is the new name for this channel. It's going to be more rankings and predictions now, as top 10s and stuff have just gotten kind of boring for me. So we're going to be doing our first ranking, which I have on my handy dandy phone here. We're going to be doing the Mystics Top 25 polls. This will be a weekly thing coming out on Monday. Happy Labor Day also to everyone out there. But yeah, so here are the polls. The number 1 team in the country is Alabama. Last week they were ranked number 1 in the country, and they defeated USC in a blowout on opening night. Number 2, Clemson. Last week they were ranked number 2. They won a close one against Auburn. Auburn had to throw up a Hail Mary at the end, and Clemson knocked it away, winning 19-13. There's really no one else better here to fit in. Number 3, Ohio State. Last week they were ranked number 6. They set a record for the most offensive yards in Ohio State history, and they won their matchup. Number 4, Florida State University. Florida State, they have not played yet. They play Mississippi tonight. Obviously, I can't predict what's going to happen, even though I am the Sports Mystic. Number 5, Michigan. Last week they were ranked number 7 in the country. They won a 63-3 game over Hawaii, and they just blew them out. Harbaugh's team continues to climb. Number 6, Stanford, led by Christian McCaffrey. The Cardinal defeated the K-State Wildcats, and they're jumping up 2 spots in the polls. I just think they're a good team and could be a contender. Number 7, Houston. Last week they were ranked number 15, and we all know what happened. They beat number 3, Oklahoma, destroying them 33-23. And a 109-yard kick return was the difference maker in that game. Number 8, TCU. Last week they were ranked 13. They jumped up a bit. I think that they're a good team, even after the graduation of Trevon Boykin. Number 9, Michigan State University. Michigan State had to fight off Furman in their first game, but they won 28-13. Good game in the post-Connor Cook era. Last week they were ranked number 12. Number 10, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the first 0-1 team we see on this list, having lost it. Number 15, Houston last week. Obviously, we've already talked about Houston, but Oklahoma is led by Heisman candidate Baker Mayfield. Number 11, Mississippi. They play Florida State, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, the Rebels will probably get suspended and lose some scholarships at the end of this year, but they're playing on Monday night. Number 12, Washington, ranked number 14 last week, won their first game of the season. It should be a good Pac-12 contender behind Stanford. Number 13, Tennessee. This is the biggest drop by any team that did not lose. They dropped 4 spots after being ranked number 9 last week. It took a fumble recovered in the end zone in overtime to knock out Appalachian State University. Number 14, LSU. Last week they were ranked number 5, but they went up to Lambeau and lost a game 14-16, and it was a hard loss for them. One of their players just got suspended for knocking some dude flat at the end of the game. Number 15, Georgia. Georgia beat North Carolina last weekend. They were ranked number 18 at the time, but now they've jumped up to 15. Number 16, Iowa. Iowa was the team that took the Big Ten by storm last year, reaching the Rose Bowl before getting flattened. Number 17, Notre Dame. They lost a thriller last night that I stayed up to watch. Double overtime against Texas in Austin. It was a great game, but the Longhorns were better than the Fighting Irish on that night. Number 18, Louisville. Louisville, we can't really tell how good of a team they are because they beat up on the worst team in the FBS, Charlotte, 70-14, so they only jump up 1 spot after being ranked number 19 last week. And number 19 this week is Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State, I think they won 61-7 over Southeast Louisiana, and last week they ranked number 21. Number 20, Baylor, ranked 23 a week ago. Baylor won their opening game of the season, blowing out their opponent. Number 21, Texas. I mentioned that they beat Notre Dame. Looks like the Longhorns are back to their spot in national prominence after a short break for a few years. Number 22, Oregon. Oregon won their opening weekend game. They jumped up 2 spots after being ranked number 24 last year. Number 23, Florida. Last week they were ranked number 25 in the country. They won their first game, and they're jumping up. They look to be, if Tennessee stumbles, the top team in the SEC East. Texas A&M. They beat UCLA in overtime, and they were unranked a week ago. They find themselves in the top 25 this week at number 24. And number 25 is the UCLA Bruins, who lost the overtime matchup to Texas A&M, but they're still good enough to find themselves a spot on this list. The teams that dropped out: 22 ranked UNC and 20 ranked USC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take these tips to Vegas. You'll win some money.